Aloha, everyone. Monday was a wonderful session overall in the stock market. Actually, had a few guys complain to me that, well, the Russell 2000 isn't leading and the big caps are leading, and they don't like that. Um, I get it. However, I don't think personally it'd be healthier for the small caps to just lead the entire rally and leave the big cap stocks behind. In an extremely healthy rally, you see a constant rotation. And I believe today that's what we saw. So, in fact, I would consider today to be more bullish of a session overall than it would have been if the NASDAQ and Russell 2000 especially would have led, because Russell 2000 has outperformed by leaps and bounds over the past few sessions that it's just absolutely a-okay with me that it didn't lead today. But the S&P 500 was up 1.35%. You can see TSV starting to bounce slightly in oversold territory, but MACD continues to move lower. That's awesome. We continue to work off overbought conditions in that index, despite us being up big today. NYSE confirms up 1.21%. You can see TSV and MACD is oversold. Dow Jones Industrial Average up 1.29%, second best index on the day. The Dow Jones Transports were up 1.69% today, the strongest of the indexes that I track. So that's especially bullish. Always like to see this index doing well, and it is doing well. As you can see, MACD and TSV is trying to bounce off oversold levels. Very, very positive action. The NASDAQ was up 1.19%. You see TSV starting to bounce around the mid-range. MACD is still coming in. The NASDAQ 100, same similar situation, up 1.29% today. And then the Russell 2000, the last of them, you can see it was still up 0.62% today, and its oscillator still hasn't even reached mid-range, either one of those. So overall, that's telling me that there's some really, really strong strength in this particular index. The Wilders RSI has bounced off the midline perfectly in it too. The stochastics continue to work off overbought conditions. NASDAQ, you can see that we're coming around mid-range in both of those. NASDAQ 100, similar situation. Dow Jones transports are in the oversold area, coming back to the mid-range. Dow Jones Industrial Average, same similar situation. The New York Stock Exchange, as you can see, quite oversold on RSI and stochastics, which is very good to see. And the S&P 500, same similar situation, pretty oversold RSI stochastics, and yet we're building higher lows than what we saw at the end of January. So overall, everything is looking good. On top of that, how many sells did I have today? None. Now intraday FSLR, I had a tight stop. Half my stop is nice and loose. It's actually like at the 200-day moving average, but one stop I had at 59.26, and it hit that intraday, dipping down to 59.13 at one point. But the bullish intraday wick, along with it continuing to hold max green bop and it being lower overall volume, means that I just had my stops run in. So now you don't know if it's going to go higher or lower, because first off, my stop should never get hit. If it's truly strong, it should just break out and keep going immediately. So we'll see if it wants to break out. The high day is 60.98. I'll put a buy stop at 60.99 on the position that got taken out. But FSLR, that was the only sell stop that hit intraday. Everything else is good. Unfortunately, my ANGO limits did not get hit, and my rare limits to get not hit, and that goddamn stock has produced a pocket pivot point, and I've been totally shaken out of all of my shares. So I don't have any rare. What I did was, after this day, it shook me out of half my position by going below 56.48. Okay, so now I make this my low of day, 55.39, and intraday you can see here we dip below 55.39. I don't get my position back on by the end of the day, even though I should have. I do a limit order at 57.24. I miss it. So right now I don't have this. So my limit order tomorrow is 58.94 to get the shares that I missed. Whatever, it happens. Now I had a few actionable signals tonight. Buffalo Wild Wing could be considered one. I don't like the short-term choppiness of the base. If you look here, you can see how it's kind of choppy. Compare that to the stock I'm going to pick, Celg, Jiva, which is the one I'm passing on, in PBYI. You can just see that Buffalo Wild Wings on the short term is not as bullish as the other ones. So those were the best long candidates tonight. I went ahead and I'm going to go for Celg, because Celg is in my CanSlim scan, and it's in my perfect speculator scan, and it's bouncing right at the 50-day moving average. Appears to be forming an ascending base. I can connect these lows right here and see that it's clearly forming an ascending base on the most short term. So I like what I see there. And there's a lot of bullish intraday action, bullish volume overall. And of course, the earnings per share and sales growth is absolutely huge. And estimates for the rest of this year and next year are huge. So why not? Feels like it's an early signal with it being imperfect speculator canceling. You can do 5% because even if we're wrong, we only risk about 3%, at the worst. Is that 2 days? It said what? 1.70%. Yeah, it's not right. Okay, so 2.73% is about what we risk it most if we're wrong. And then the other long that I'm taking is PBYI. I profiled this on StockTwits at some point last week. I don't know if it was here, or here, but it was in StockTwits last week. It's now breaking out above the highs of 244.99. Is that where that was? 244.99. Yeah, 245. It's at 248.34 on heavier volume. That is a breakout for me. I want to get long that stock. That's only going to be 2.5% because it's only a perfect speculator scan stock under major accumulation. It's not a cancel stock. No earnings, no sales. It's going to probably be a buyout, can't target. And then GEVA, similar situation, except for it's up 4% on the day. And when I look at an arithmetic chart, I can already see, it's well off the lows. Like it's been up now 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a row. Not that heavy volume in any of those days. So we're risking 10% if we're wrong. And you can see in the short term, that's quite a big move. And you can see in this stock, it doesn't always like to hold its move. So here it did, there it did, but there, it doesn't like it there, doesn't like it there, doesn't like it there, doesn't like it there, there. But it makes its way higher. So I think it's too risky of a trade, so I'm not taking it. But Jiva is also a consideration. So PBYI 2.5, sell G5, got to get long rare, and then FSLR got to buy back, and then CDK is giving an add signal. Won't be able to do anything in my cash account at all, so not even going to touch it as an add in my cash account. Margin account, I don't know, man. I'm on full margin now, man. Everything's working. The buying power is adding up, so I got to be careful. But the gains are starting to really pile up too, but I don't like talking about that. But things are looking really well for me so far this year. But CDK, another pocket pivot point buy signal. This is very actionable. Only 1.25% of a position for me. But hell, if you want to do 5, 10, 15, 20% at this point, I don't think it matters. The market looks really strong here.